General Motors was created by William Durant, owner of the Durant-Dort Carriage Company, which was the largest horse-drawn vehicle company at the turn of the century. In spite of an initial dislike of the automobile, he would take control of Buick in 1904, a company that was barely a year old, but used an innovative valve-in-head or overhead valve engine design, and he would turn it into one of the best-selling and most profitable American cars within a couple of years, using it as the basis to start General Motors in 1908. In what some would call an if you can't beat them, buy them mentality, he would start buying other brands, starting with the Olds Motor Works, or Oldsmobile, the brand that Buick had displaced at the top of the sales market. That would be followed by Cadillac, which had already established itself as an industry leader in precision and was dubbed the standard of excellence. And the following months would include Elmore, Welsh, Carter Car, Oakland, Rainier, Rapid, and Reliance, and he even attempted to buy Ford. But by this point, GM's finances were already overextended, and GM's financiers pressured the board to have Durant removed. Carter Car had been founded by Byron Carter and used a unique friction drive transmission, an attempt at an early continuously variable transmission, or CVT. But when Carter was killed in an accident from crank-starting his own car, Henry Leland and Charles Kettering of the Daytona Engineering Laboratories Company, or Delco, would team up to create a safer electrical start system. Cadillac had already been using Delco ignition systems, and the new system incorporated an electric motor as the starter, with a generator, battery, and electrical lights, introduced on 1911 Cadillacs and Carter cars. Just as GM was restructuring. The Rapid and Reliance divisions, which had both produced commercial trucks, were combined to create GMC trucks. The underperforming Rainier, Welsh, and Elmore divisions were discontinued, with the Elmore factory being sold to the Clydesdale Truck Company. And Carter Car would be killed off in 1915, when Cadillac introduced the first V8 engine. Meanwhile, William Durant was working to get control of the company back. This included creating a new automotive brand in 1911 to compete with the best-selling Ford, with the help of the Chevrolet brothers, and using their name. He would soon have another successful brand, and would create the United Motors Corporation. This included Scripps-Booth, the Hyatt Roller Bearing Company, New Department Manufacturing, Remy Electric, the Perlman Rim Company, and Delco, all of which would become part of GM in 1918, when Durant was able to purchase a controlling interest and put himself back in the driver's seat, with more purchasing to follow, including Samson Tractor, Frigidaire Appliances, and Canadian car company McLaughlin, which became GM Canada, and the General Motors Acceptance Corporation was formed to assist in automotive financing. But Durant was soon removed once again, being replaced by Alfred Sloan in 1920, who instituted his own form of restructuring in two parts. First, by assigning each automotive division a price segment, with Chevrolet at the entry point, and then with each brand moving more upmarket, through Oakland, Oldsmobile, and Buick, to Cadillac at the top. Second was to create the model year, a form of planned obsolescence, with new models every year to make the previous year's model obsolete. And soon there was more expansion, with the purchase of the Yellow Cab and Coach Company, Vauxhall in Britain, Opel in Germany, and a stake in the Hertz Rental Company. In 1926, they purchased the remainder of Fisher Body, which had been producing bodies for GM from the beginning, and had just taken over the coach builder Fleetwood. The next stage of Alfred Sloan's restructuring was companion makes, new brands based on existing brands to fill the gaps in the market. This would start with the Oakland spin-off Pontiac, also in 1926, to fit between Oakland and Chevrolet, and would be the only companion make to outlive its parent brand. Next would come LaSalle, the Junior Cadillac, and the first car styled in GM's new Art and Color Studio, created to compete with the styles of custom coach builders. Then Viking was created as a high-end Oldsmobile, and Marquette as a low-end Buick. But Viking only lasted 3 years, and Marquette won, although GM purchases continued, to include Allison aircraft engines and Winton, which had moved from automobiles to locomotive diesels, and they merged it into the also purchased Electromotive, a manufacturer of diesel-electric hybrid trains. By this point, the Great Depression was killing off car companies, while GM had become the world's largest automobile manufacturer, surpassing Ford, with their diverse list of products helping carry them through the Great Depression. And Holden of Australia would become a GM subsidiary, although they discontinued Oakland in favor of the cheaper and more profitable Pontiac. In 1935, they would introduce the Carryall Suburban, a tall wagon based on the light pickup, and sold through Chevrolet and GMC. Then in 1938, they created Detroit Diesel, taking what was developed by Winton and adapting it for commercial trucks. LaSalle would survive through 1940, but by this point, Cadillac had moved down market enough to fill the gap it left, and they would introduce the first fully automatic transmission, the Hydra-Matic, first offered by Oldsmobile. The light trucks would stop sharing styling with the car models with the 1941 restyle, and GM was already shifting into war production. This included Grumman aircraft, the Churchill tank in England, and the Opel Blitz truck in Germany, part of the reason the German plants were bombed by the Allies, and GM was later compensated for the loss. Post-war, Holden would start building cars under their own brand name, initially referred to as a baby Chevrolet, while in the U.S., GM consistently had 3 of the top 5 selling brands, with Chevrolet on the top and Pontiac, Oldsmobile, and Buick all fighting Plymouth for third. GM entered the sports car market in 1953 with the Chevrolet Corvette, a car that would become known as America's sports car, and they would purchase heavy equipment manufacturer Euclid Trucks, but they would sell their stake in Hertz. They would introduce mechanical fuel injection on models from Pontiac and Chevrolet starting in 1957, but these would soon be reduced to just the Corvette. At the end of the decade, they would start to make a push for V6 engines, first from GMC trucks and then from Buick, but this push would lose focus with the development of the muscle car market. They would enter the compact market in 1960, first with the unconventional rear-engine air-cooled flat-six Corvair and a cab-over truck based on it, and then the more conventional Pontiac Tempest Le Mans, Oldsmobile F85 Cutlass, and Buick Special Skylark premium compacts, followed by the more competitive Chevrolet Chevy 2 Nova, and a van based on it, simply called the Chevy Van. They would also effectively create the superstock market with the Chevrolet Impala 409 Supersport and Pontiac Grand Prix Super Duty. Then, GM would be the first company to offer a production turbocharged car in 1962, with both the Chevrolet Corvair and the V8 Oldsmobile Cutlass. They then entered the new personal luxury coupe market in 1963 with the Buick Riviera, continuing their trend as a styling leader. They officially moved into the intermediate market in 1964 with bigger versions of their previous premium compacts, and Chevrolet also got a version as the Chevelle Malibu, while the Pontiac version would include the new Tempest GTO, the car credited with creating the muscle car. It was quickly joined by the Chevrolet Chevelle Supersport, Oldsmobile Cutlass 442, and Buick Skylark Grand Sport. They introduced their first front-wheel drive car in 1966 with the radical new Oldsmobile Toronado personal luxury coupe. The same year, they created the first hydrogen fuel cell electric vehicle, the Electrovan, but it did not go into production. After an 8-year antitrust lawsuit, GM was forced to sell Euclid to White in 1968, ending their dominance in that segment. But they would create a new Ranger division specifically for South Africa, although they would be both sold and produced elsewhere as well, only surviving for 10 years. 1969 saw the introduction of the Chevy Blazer and GMC Jimmy recreational light trucks that would later be known as SUVs. Also in 1969, the Pontiac Grand Prix was moved from the full-size to the mid-size platform, creating the intermediate personal luxury coupe, a segment that became the popular trend of the 1970s, with the Chevrolet Monte Carlo that was introduced the next year. In 1971, they worked with Boeing to create the Lunar Rover, the first and to this day only car to drive on the moon. Around the same time, they would form a joint venture with Isuzu, all but taking control of that struggling company with a 34% stake to start. And although Buick dealers had been selling Opals in the U.S. for about a decade, GM would enter the American subcompact market in earnest with the Vega. An advanced design on paper, it proved to be less than the sum of its parts, causing major damage to GM's reputation. But sales remained strong, and by 1975, 4 of the top 5 best-selling brands in the U.S. were GM divisions. 1978 saw the introduction of the first cars with cylinder deactivation, with Cadillac's V8 6.4, but the computer technology at the time wasn't really up to it. Neither this nor Oldsmobile's problematic converted diesel were enough to slow GM sales, at first, with GM having 2/3 of the U.S. market share by decade's end. Sales, however, were not amounting to profits, so the unprofitable Frigidaire company was sold, and an extensive cost-cutting campaign was put in place. This would also involve a joint venture with Toyota to build cars at the NUMMI factory in California, allowing the companies to learn each other's business practices. For 1982, GM offered an in-house compact pickup, as the Chevrolet S10 and GMC S15, that would soon be joined by SUV versions, and eventually the Astro Safari minivans. In 1984, they purchased Electronic Data Systems in an effort to expand outside the auto industry and to computerize the company and its bookkeeping. General Motors had also purchased a 5.3% stake in Suzuki in 1981, leading to the Suzuki-built Chevrolet Sprint in 1985. The same year, they would buy the Hughes Aircraft Company, and the following year, they would take nearly 60% stake in Lotus. They would team up and buy stake in the defense contractor AeroVironment to build the Sunracer, a car that won the first World Solar Challenge in 1987. The heavy commercial truck division would team up with Volvo to create White GMC, and Detroit Diesel would be sold. And the so-called captive imports made by Toyota, Isuzu, and Suzuki would be split off as their own Chevrolet companion division, Geo, for 1989. Around the same time, they would take a controlling interest in Saab. After several years of development, GM introduced a new division called Saturn that was to be independent of the other divisions and compete with Asian imports. And in 1992, General Motors would begin marketing a civilian version of the AM General Humvee military vehicle as the Hummer H1. They would sell Lotus to Bugatti in 1993. Then they would introduce the first mass-produced electric vehicle of the modern era as the GM EV1 in 1996. Lease-only with just over 1,000 made, it was considered a flop, and most would be destroyed at the end of the decade, to much controversy. It would also be around this time that GM would sell off both Electronic Data Systems and Hughes Aircraft, and soon after, Geo models would return to Chevrolet badging, putting an end to the Geo brand. In 1997, GM would form a partnership with the Shanghai Automotive Group to build cars in China. Volvo would take over what remained of the heavy-duty commercial truck joint venture with White, and in 1999, GM would buy the rights to the Hummer brand and begin expanding it more into GM-based products, such as the H2 and H3. In 2000, Saturn would start to share models with other GM divisions, and GM would buy a 20% share of stock of Fiat, and then take control of the Korean brand Daewoo in 2001. They would introduce their first crossover in 2002 with the Saturn Vue, a design that would soon spread to other GM divisions and be offered as a mild hybrid, although the first such vehicles would be the 2004 Chevrolet Silverado, with full hybrids arriving on the 2008 full-size trucks. But things were not looking good, and America's longest-running brand, Oldsmobile, was killed off after 110 years. They ended their partnership with Fiat, and they would sell their stake in Isuzu the following year. Their joint venture with Toyota would come to an end in 2009, and GM would file for bankruptcy, only surviving through government bailouts and a forced restructuring. EMD was sold to Caterpillar to become part of Progressive Rail. The Pontiac, Saturn, Hummer, and commercial truck divisions were killed off, and Saab was sold to Spyker. Then, in 2011, Daewoo would become GM Korea. Around the same time, they would introduce their extended-range electric vehicles, sold through various divisions as the Volt, Ampera, and ELR. They would re-enter the mainstream electric car market in 2014 with a version of the subcompact Spark that would be replaced by a purpose-built electric as the Bolt in 2017, when General Motors Europe, meaning Opel and Vauxhall, would be sold to PSA. They would also start closing other factories outside the U.S., starting with India, then Thailand, and would put an end to Holden altogether at the beginning of 2021, the year they would introduce their new Bright Drop electric commercial vehicle division. And GM has invested heavily into supplies for the electric vehicle market and lithium mining for batteries. Today, the Corvette remains America's sports car and the last Chevrolet car, as well as one of the few things separating Chevrolet from GMC. Cadillac is still representing the top of the American luxury car market, while Buick's importance is now primarily in Asia and other export markets. But GM is currently number one in America, with 17% market share, and fifth globally, with 8% market share. Not the dominant force it once was, but still very much in the game. So as always, thanks for watching. Don't forget to comment below and like and subscribe.